What's going on, YouTube? Last Musketeer here, coming at you with the second part of Eternal Evolution Free-to-Play Is It Worth the series. So while I let the video play in the background, I don't necessarily want to start out just going through exactly what I'm doing per day. I'm gonna kind of let you watch and see what I've got going on. So in my first video, my initial impression was that I was potentially going to hit a wall pretty early, and my growth of this account would probably be stifled pretty early on. The more and more that I play it now, though, I realize that there's actually quite a bit of content to get out each day, and an hour a day in this game is actually probably not enough time to do everything that you can possibly do off daily resets. And while I'm not going to push the hours further, because that is part of the process and the learning part of these videos, I really think that they've actually done a decent job of keeping you busy. And while that's not necessarily a good thing at times, I find that the average player base, people who probably play 1 to 2 hours, may or may not be able to finish all the daily rewards, and plus juggling arena, juggling the events. Now, for the player that plays a decent amount of time per day, who very much enjoys the game, it's a good thing. You know, they're going to have plenty of rewards as long as they put in a little bit of the grind. But for the rest of us, it'll be a bit harder to keep up with the people that are able to do that. And obviously, you know, anytime somebody puts more time into the game or puts money towards the game, they're going to have an advantage. But that being said, I'm not really necessarily having that hard of a time progressing right now. The campaign especially has been fairly easy. I don't think I've actually lost a match of it yet, even till day 7. The problem though, not just events, but I think also campaign does start to have 2 team requirements, and that can be where I fall into a bit of a problem. See, I, for the most part right now, have focused on mainly about 5-6 heroes. There is a junction in the main base that allows you to, I think it's called inherit. What this does is allow you to take your top team of 5, and as you plug your other heroes into it, your unranked heroes, they will inherit the level of your lowest starting 5. So if you work on a team of 5, you can just throw them in there and get, without wasting resources, all of them to that level. There is a bit of a caveat in that though, in which they don't inherit gear. So you may have a level 100 hero that's inherited, but if you haven't been keeping evolving them, as you see me doing here with Karma, then they don't get those extra stat upgrades. And not to mention, if you put your lower level gear, like say your blue gear, which is basically your common, there is a big difference in power between your starting 5 and your next few. So yeah, as you go along and start to see these fights where you have to have teams of 2 and 3, you're going to have to mix some of the heroes that you've actually put a lot of work into the other groups. And they're going to be either your tanks, so the rest of them can stay alive and deal damage, and it may take longer to fight, or you put your damage dealers in there and hope that they can survive long enough. Which basically leaves you with a decision. Do you spread out your resources? Do you put more time into specific locations just to be able to keep up with the ever-expanding meta? And that is something that's going to be a bit hard and take a bit longer for me to figure out, because while the events and the missions do give you a decent amount of gear, the main pieces of gear you get are from the level of boss that you've killed. And in the perimeter, there are about 3, I think, so far that I've unlocked of boss fights, and they have timers on them, so you can get bronze, silver, and gold. Gold being the highest timer, allowing you to get some really good rewards. And I am very excited about that, because as you're clearing, you're going to get, if you get the gold timing, 2 of the limited summon tokens. So that's going to open a little more doors for you maybe get you a chance to get some of those SSS heroes. Which leads me to another problem though. So you get 3 of the challenges a day normally. You can get these special rainbow looking ones that you can use at any time, so they're your extra ones. As I'm going through, the time it takes to run each of these, because there is no skip option for those, it takes too much out of my time, too much out of my hour as I'm trying to do all these other things and click through the stages, click through the missions, grab my rewards, go to my summons. It all just adds up over and over and over to the point where I'm finding I don't have the time to do everything. So yeah, I did end up pulling an SSS for the first time in this video, only because I hit the pity. And it was actually, I had done 5 tin summons on one previously, and it resets, and I was worried that I lost the pity counter, but they keep it, which is a great feature. I am very happy with that, because otherwise I would have been in a bit of a setback. So I ended up pulling a tin pull on the new ones once it changed to a new event, and pulled it on the first one. So far I haven't been lucky to get it outside of the pity, but if you are lucky, there's a chance that, you know, you get multiple of it and you can upgrade them. Because the evolving does take 1 copy of this from a class into a copy of the actual hero you're upgrading. So in order to get an SSS to red or yellow, you're going to have to take multiple copies, and that in itself is a bit of a hassle. So as a free-to-play, yeah, you're going to get some, but when you do, what good are they going to be for your account? You're already going to have multiple of your easier to pull champs at a much higher rank and doing way more damage than an SSS does early on. So essentially, what was the point in me putting all this effort in and trying to do these limited summons? I think I'd be much better off just getting more of the advanced summons or the basic summons so I can at least further some of my other champs. All these SSS heroes for the most part are going to be sitting on the back burner with nothing for me to do with them. Now, the SSS I do have currently came from getting to the end of this event, and while it's been great for my team, it still doesn't do anywhere close to something that I'd already worked up. In the fight that was shown right there, that SSS did about 213k, while Carmal, one of my higher ranked, just regular rarity champions, did a whole 500 something k. Twice the damage. So what good is that hero to me? It's not. So when I got it, I was excited, and then it turns to immediate disappointment. When are they going to allow us to summon them from maybe the advanced summon pool so we can try to get dupes for these? I don't know when this will happen. I don't know what they're going to do. Like I said, I go in blind, so everything that I see, I'm only going to learn about as I play through. So yeah, if you wanted to look up guides, you're going to have an easier time with this. And finding the right champ for you and getting whatever turns out to be like the meta team without the SSS, you're going to be a lot better off doing that and progressing through there, because as I've seen so far, really I haven't had any problem using anything of base stature. Even the stuff that I use with the inherent right now is working for me more as like a little bit of damage and a little bit of a meat shield, because some of their unique abilities are actually good even without gear, though if you can put a little bit of gear in them, maybe a little bit of effort into them and get them up, you're going to progress a lot more. So for the main focus, as far as I've seen, just keep putting in as much work as you can to your lower rarity. So as a brief example, I wanted to show you kind of what it looks like taking my current roster. So as you see, I have 3 of these heroes, in which if I want to upgrade them, I'll put them all 3 in. Evolve gives them extra stats and gives them 1 tally mark at the bottom there. So this is essentially the whole upgrade system, and for this sake of this case, I have 2 purple of the Haemons, so I'm going to use it as the primary and use these two to break it into a purple. Now the purple, you'll see, also has one tally mark. So essentially, I have this purple Hamon highlighted, and I could add a duplicate of him, but it's not asking for a specific duplicate, just one of that class. So if I wanted to put, when you look at it and I highlight it, there's certain ones that are locked. Those means they're for different classes. The ones that aren't locked, however, as you'll see here, I have one. He's an immortal hero, which means he only spawns in at purple, while Hamon comes in at rare. So that's why he's good food, but I want to keep the dupes so I can level him up more, because for the class I'm going, as you go up to yellow or red rarity, you're going to start needing more dupes of him and higher rarity of the class specific heroes. So hopefully that all makes sense. It's a bit confusing. I didn't have the best clip to show for this. Hopefully later on I can get a better example of it and maybe go into more detail. If you're playing, you'll see it and it'll be a little easier to understand, but hopefully my point comes across. This is the main source of improvement for your heroes, and so this is essentially why SSSs are hard for free to play. So from here, we're going to kind of stop talking about specific things and go more into what I'm doing currently in the rest of this day 6 and the day 7. So I'm pulling these summons. Blues are what I'm hoping for most. Purples for specific duplicates I'm really wanting, but rares, the blues, are going to give me a lot more food, so I'm going to have a lot more options for leveling up. And putting in gems for them instead of doing the actual cards, I don't know if that's going to be harmful later on. I feel like in order to increase what I'm currently at, I'm going to have as much of the evolution food as possible, so I'm just kind of throwing as many gems as I can in there right now. I'm still saving some because there are these certain things that require the gems to get up these upgrade packs or chances of pulling a certain amount of limited summon tickets. So I am saving them because rare supplies are hard to come by, and having just enough, which I think 2000's probably pretty good for that. As you see, this fatty treasure that I just got, very good, very hard to obtain things, so saving a little bit for him is great. You're going to get a lot of gems as far as the first week playthrough, and a big shout out to Mr. 19 here. He's welling out pretty hard, but in that sense, all the stuff that he's doing is giving me like 50 gems each, so over time he's probably by himself put in, you know, well over like 1,000 or so gems for me. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, and you are slaying the server because I don't think anybody's even close to him. But as I'm doing these wastelands and these boss fights, the more and more time I put into it, those seem to be the most essential items. And as you see, I pulled the Divine prototype, that red sphere looking thing. It's kind of in the same sense of like an upgrade to your fighting. It gives you special abilities. So I was pretty lucky to pull that in the first 3. I don't know what the odds are exactly. I didn't read them. I just kind of pulled on that, and it's one of the rare items. So I would assume I got pretty lucky on that. So definitely not going to complain there. Also, this jackpot system, the raffle system, is very good. I did it until I got all of the limited recruit cards and the soul shards, and then reset it. That way I could pull the most important stuff the most. All the other stuff is extra gear, yes, but there might be a certain amount of limited reruns. I'm not sure. Either way, it is a fantastic event, and it's going to allow you to get a lot more limited summons. So as you saw there, from that one I pulled my first actual pull of an SSS. It's the one where I hit the pity, but it is a really good hero that has a nice like support ability that ups the damage of everyone in that line. So if I put her back there with Carmel, Carmel is going to do even more damage than he already does. He's already my leading damage type by a ton. And like I said, going in blind, I don't exactly know what the meta is, so Carmel may not even be that good. This is just kind of the hero I liked and the ones that I've got the most of, so I'm just pushing forward with these. Day 7, I've got a pretty good amount of heroes and food that I'm putting forth in there. And as you saw, I just used one of those rares to take him up to yellow. Then used him to upgrade my Carmel even further. I'm missing another dupe for him, so it's going to be a moment before I get him beyond this white rank. And I'll have to see, just what he gets to at that point. I doubt that'll be the highest rank, but I'm sure there is somewhat of a close cap to where I'm at as far as how far the unit can go currently, until they add some more, later on as they flesh out more of the game. So from here, I'm just going to continue to grind, hopefully get a few more dupes, maybe get some heroes other than just Carmel to the white rank so that I can flesh out a better team and get a little faster clears that'll help speed up what I can do during the day. But anyway, this is going to be it for the video. I'm going to let it play out. This has been The Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.